Today on Outside the Box Reviews, we're taking a look at the NECA Pacific Rim Wave 3, the Jaeger half of that wave, and this is Cherno Alpha. Cherno Alpha is, of course, the Russian Jaeger. It is a Mark I, despite NECA listing on the packaging that it's a Mark IV, and it was the last Jaeger we needed to complete the, I guess you'd call them hero Jaegers from the movie. And I was very excited just to be getting this figure. I think Cherno Alpha is a really cool design in the movie, but when NECA revealed that this was going to be one of the first ones to get the super articulated treatment, I was super psyched. And I am very excited to be looking at this figure. First up, we'll look at Cherno's head, or lack thereof. He basically has a big nuclear fin going on. I think this is actually the reactor. I may be wrong. He's got the two big burners here on the side, what I believe is a panel of lights up here up top, which mine has a little sloppy painting on the bottom row there, but nothing horrible for the size of it. It's a great green with some kind of dirty dry brushing on there, some red stripes. Of course, we have Cherno Alpha stamped up here, both in English and Russian. Up on top, we get a great view of all the little panels and exhaust fans. Nothing painted, but still really cool looking. Back here, we have a little designation, 006, USF. I can't read the rest of it, but really tiny writing, and it is all in there. I'm sure if you had a magnifying glass, you could actually read it, but really nicely detailed top section. But this figure, I must say, has made me look at Cherno Alpha in a different light than I have previously, because in the movie, I always just accepted this to be the head. But now I realize that this right here in the center of his chest is the con pod where the pilots sit. So my question now is this still the head of the robot, or is the head down here and he kind of has the big reactor on top? Almost reminding me of, I forget the name, but the Titan in the original God of War that carries the temple on his back. But he's got the little ports here on the side. Now in the original articulation diagram, it looked like these were going to be removable or movable, which would have been really cool because he does kind of flutter them in the movie, but they're just a solid piece. But still, the paint scheme from the top continues. Some great detail. Arms big and boxy like they were on the Mark I's. He's got the little Russian star up here. Big vent holes, big vents coming off the side. We have the forearm, another Cherno Alpha stamp on there. And then we have the fist that will slide in and out, and you can actually see the pistons in here are nicely detailed in a gray. Some great dry brushing effect on the fist. Looks like the brown kind of dirt just cascading off of it. We have the big kind of flat metal fingers with the joints sculpted in there, and you can open that up. You have what Del Toro called the roll of nickels. You kind of lump in the middle to kind of add extra support to the punches. And also, I guess these were supposed to be electrified fists, so it would have been severe pain to get hit by one of these. The very industrial look continues with kind of a big cylinder running through his midsection. Of course, a very tiny pelvis region. Flipping around to the back, we see the upper body. There's kind of these fins back here, similar to what Gypsy Danger has up top. Almost another piece reminiscent of the spine on some of the other Jaegers, and just some big ports or vents or whatever going on back here. Very cool looking. But one of my favorite little details NECA gave are these little wires coming off the pelvis here, going, I suppose, to the legs. But instead of actually attaching them to the legs and hindering mobility, they attach down here to this lower cylinder. So they look like they're going to the legs, but the articulation isn't hindered, and no matter how you move it, it still kind of looks like it's going in the leg. So very, very cool way to cheat the perspective there. Up here at the hip, we kind of have the silver joint, kind of turbine looking, and once again, big boxy legs, big vents on it, more red striping, very cool looking, and then a big chunky foot on that Jaeger. And once again, no peg holes this time, but nice texture on the bottom. I assume NECA omitted the peg holes on these hyper articulated Jaegers, since I guess you could get them to stand better, but I have all my other Jaegers on the NECA stands, and I kind of wanted to add these to that set as well, but oh well. They seem to stand just fine. I had him standing on one foot for quite a while, actually, before he fell over. Speaking of articulation, we're going to start with one that I question needing. The upper top part here is on a ball joint, so you can go forward and back a little bit and spin side to side a little bit. Doesn't really seem to be necessary. It seems to just kind of be extraneous articulation. I don't really see this as being the head, and it doesn't really turn in the film, so having it being able to move just kind of seems pointless. The shoulders are on a great double ball joint, so jointed both at the body and at the shoulder, so you can get some great range of motion out of that. Really, really nice there. Swivel forward and back. We have a great hinge at the elbow, goes very, very far. Big fan of that. We can swivel at the elbow as well. Of course, we have the extender on both arms, and we can open and close the hand. We have a mid-torso ball joint, so we can go very far forward, not so far back, and also kind of swivel side to side, but he kind of forces himself to go at an angle, so you can't get a whole lot of side to side. The legs have a really good joint as well. You can go forward, back, out to the side very easily. Very well done joint. We can bend very, very far at the knee. And there is a disc joint with a ball joint for the foot. So the disc joint can move very far forward and very far back. And the ball joint will actually allow the foot to move and pivot and all that good stuff. So very nicely constructed foot joint. I'm a big fan of that. So at the end of the day, we have the best articulated Jaeger out of the 6 that NECA's given us. Cherno is really cool in that respect. You get him into crazy poses. And the detailing on him is really well done as well. The paint's nice. I love the weathering effects that have gone into this figure. It's very obvious this is supposed to be something that in its prime was that green kind of olive drab color with some red and black and some yellow details on it. But this thing's been through hell, and it is dirty and grimy and smoky and all that good stuff. And I think it really adds to the character here. I'd said in my previous reviews that the battle damaged Gypsy Danger to me was a very superior figure to the original, and a lot of that was the real world kind of weathering that went into it. NECA did a great job on that weathering. And the original Gypsy, the original Crimson Typhoon, and the original Striker Eureka all kind of lacked that. They were very fresh out of the factory looking. And I'm really glad that with these new Jaegers, NECA has taken that approach and given us actual dirty, grimy Jaegers that look so cool. This thing's getting a high recommend from me. It's a very fun figure, either to fit in, finish out your Pacific Rim Jaeger display of the main Jaegers, or just something to keep in hand and mess with the articulation because there's so much of it. You get this in all kinds of cool poses. And really, I can't wait to pit this thing up against some of my SH Monster Arts figures and have some giant crossover rumble fights going on because it's a very, very cool figure. Make sure you check me out on Instagram, username Outside the Box Reviews. Also check me out on Facebook, link below. And until next time, it's been another Outside the Box Reviews. Stay tuned for more to come.